Why am I unable to go to the gym? Why am I unable to work? Why am I unable to push myself?
What we do that's different is we practice a technique called conscious connected breath work, which is a very powerful technique, an ancient breathing technique.
When capitalism became the way to live, we lost in the race to be externally performative, we lost that ability.
All of wellness is about coming back to yourself.
Look at our body signals and look at our, emotional signals. It started from there, and then you realize that beauty wasn't making me happy. Then you did the inner work.
That is designed to help you actually unblock and release stress from your body.
Hi guys, welcome to an episode of Unsupervised that I am extremely excited and passionate about. I'm Sandhini.
I'm Arjun.
Actually, this is why I'm really excited about today's topic, because today's topic is about burnout, right? And burnout causing us all to move into our wellness era.
Yeah.
And I'm firmly in this era because it's better than being in my burnout era. And I'm definitely not in my let's kumbaya era.
I'm feeling well now.
yeah. I'm feeling well now for sure. And like burnout, I feel like it's such a beautiful word, burnout and wellness. They're two really, really beautiful Instagram-worthy words that have sucked us in. And we have Neha from IMD-certified today. She's gonna unpack this lovely light topic with us, just like a breath of fresh air. We're going to talk about why we're all burnt out.
Good pun.
Why we're all,
You're a pun girl. Hi Neha, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Yeah, that was a good pun. I enjoyed it. I wanted to ask you, what is your definition of wellness? Like, if you could give a tight, because I don't feel as far down the road of wellness as Sandhini is. Like, sometimes she's talking about practices like yin yoga and other stuff, which I'm not in the space to engage myself, because partially I do therapy, so that's my form of wellness. Okay. But also it feels a bit like an industry to me. Yeah. So I'm not able to engage with it in the same level of altruisticness that I would like. So what is wellness for you?
I would say at its core, wellness is actually a rhythm, okay? A personal rhythm. You can think of it like that. So I think a lot of things come into wellness, like balance, like having things that are right for you at the stage of life that you're in. And I think what's happening now, when you say it's commercialized, it's become an industry, I think social media is like creating this toxic definition of wellness and what wellness might look like compared to what it actually should feel like for you. Right? We've all been now with gadgets, technology, the biohacking, the data, like all these gadgets that people wear, right? We're chasing these measures, this visible, like verifiable form of wellness, this hyper optimization, right? Like we were sold this idea that, if you're well, you can do marathons and you can do this and you can wake up at 5 and do ice bath. It's very performance based. And now I feel like many of us are like, tired of that. We realized we chased those things, we all did those things, we tracked everything, how many steps, how many calories, and now we're like, actually I don't feel better doing any of these things. So it comes back to like, actually we need to simplify. We need to come back to what feels right for your body now. Like what I was doing for my wellness and my routine in my 20s pre-kids is very different as a woman in my 40s with 3 kids. Like I don't wake up at 5 a.m. I can't sit and meditate for half an hour. Like those are the things that, exactly. I hate cold showers. I hate ice baths. But exactly, everyone's like, no, you should do this. Yeah. How many, and I think there's obviously going to be trends, right? There's trends in the market. We all bought collagen. We all do IV. Like we all do all these things. But I think at the end of the day, you've got to think of it as your rhythm, okay? Yeah. Even if you think of music, right? In music, even music and notes has a rest. We've forgotten that you need that rest and recovery, that pause to go faster, to go harder. Like a rhythm doesn't just go at 100 miles an hour. You have that ebb and flow.
I was reading this article where wellness is actually turned into surveillance. Like the objective is not to make you feel better, it's to survey you. And self-surveillance has an insane amount of psychological side effects over time. Like it's a very bad.
Like what?
So you stop trusting yourself. You've completely surrendered your judgment. And if you don't get that data at the time that you get it, you are in disarray. And
So like tracking your sleep,
tracking your
steps.
I mean, again, like where do you draw the line is another question, right?
But then these things, they basically cause this feedback loop that actually causes more anxiety.
Yeah, it causes more anxiety because it's like a result-based system. You're not relaxing.
And you're relying on those numbers, right? Rather than actually using your intuition and listening to your body. Most of us, like you were talking about disconnection, like most of us actually become numb and disconnected to what our body is actually telling us. And then we wait till the extreme, like extreme hair loss or extreme weight loss or those physical tip of the iceberg symptoms. We wait till that, right? Or the same, we were talking about pain. You kind of just live through it like I survive. And we go in this survival mode for so long. And then we get to the state where like, okay, there's no turning, like now what do I do? Is it surgery or do I have to do something else? Like we get to that dead end and then we make a choice.
What I would like to do is talk about what your burnout looked like, and what my burnout looked like. And the reason I want to do this is that even when I was researching this episode, if you say the word burnout, because wellness era very rarely, at least for our generation, comes without burnout. And burnout is so, like it's such a ball of things. Like it's physical, it's emotional, it's psychological, it's mental, it's external, it's internal. Like there are so many aspects of it. I would love to hear, like, what was your burnout?
Yeah, I think my burnout started in 2019, I think. I think life had become a lot. And I was feeling more and more detached from everything around me. Like I wasn't enjoying anything. None of the my work wasn't bringing me joy. Nothing was giving me that battery charge that I needed. And obviously I was struggling with coming out of the closet, and that was another mountain to climb. And then COVID hit and there was nothing to do. And that's when I found time to sit with myself, because we were forced to sit. I mean, I was in a situation that was very comfortable. My family and I left Bombay and we went back. We went to this small place and we were just living out, very idyllically for a couple of months in my hometown. And when you sit with yourself, you realize I realized how much of my life I didn't care for. I wasn't enjoying any, when that reality hit me is when I realized that I need to start changing, doing physical things to take care of myself. I started working out. It started with the basics, right? Like I started working out, started looking after what I eat.
What about for you, Neha? What's your burnout story?
She's like, are you ready?
Yeah.
How much time do we have?
Who knew when we were kids?
Yeah.
I think for me, I didn't even use the terminology burnout. I didn't know that's what happened to me.
Thanks, Insta.
Only after years of going into breathwork and understanding nervous system, I realized how burnt out I was. Okay, so in retrospect, like looking back, reflecting back, I think the moment, it was almost like this feeling of like drowning, but inside. But on the outside, I was successful. I worked in investment banking. I dressed well. I went to work. I was one of the only women directors on my floor. Like everything on the outside was great. I had my kids. I had like happy pictures as a family. But inside, I felt like literally I was gasping for breath. Okay, like I was gasping for breath to keep up. And I was so disconnected from myself. And I felt like I got to this point where it was COVID. My daughter was 3, had twin babies, at a house full of family, like my mother-in-law, my mom, very loving big family around.
Responsibilities going live.
But it's like it was meant to be like, okay, happy time in the story of life, right? Like, I'm very lucky. I'm surrounded by a loving family. Like, we're all healthy, all of those things. But I felt so numb. Numb is probably the right word to use, I think. Like, I felt like I couldn't really connect to the joy of that moment, or the joy of, like, yes, we smile for the pictures, and yes, we share and we tell people, like, oh my God, this is amazing, and look what, like, but it didn't really connect with any of those things. And I think I realized, and now I know, having studied nervous system and what happened, but basically I went into like shutdown. There's a state of your nervous system called dorsal vagal shutdown, where you've lived in survival mode and in fight and flight mode for so long that to protect yourself, your nervous system basically turns off and it goes, okay, enough. This is not sustainable. You can't live like this anymore. You can caffeinate your way through and do all of these things. For like a decade, I worked in banking. And then I came to this point where, like, just no more. Like, I just couldn't do it anymore.
It's an actual physiological phenomenon.
Yeah. And so it's a protective mechanism of your nervous system to be like, right, conserve energy, protect. And things that you even described, like feeling disconnected, feeling aloof, like not finding the joy or feeling present in those things, not being able to do that. And I could, like, you know, lead exco meetings. I could do presentation pitches. I was flown to China to do the thing. But I could not sit with my own reflection quietly for 10 minutes. I couldn't. Like, I didn't feel safe alone in myself. Like, that to me was like, I feel like the peak of that burnout, where, like, okay, I can't enjoy being with my family. I can't face going back to work. Like, and that is hard when when you feel like you've been successful or productive or whatever word you want to use. I think when you get into that stage where you're like...
What was your burnout like?
My burnout, I feel like, was in two really distinct phases. So I thought that I was burnt out during COVID, and that I found a coping mechanism, because I assigned my burnout to very basic things. I need to lose my weight after having my first child. I need to find happiness. And I was like, I'm not finding happiness because I haven't lost the weight and I'm not working. It was very basic. And about last year, 2025, was, I think, the peak of my burnout. It was, and it's really weird.
The emotional burnout caught up.
The physical and the emotional burnout caught up. I think that my entire back issue, and then I speak to so many women with back issues and men also, the back represents something very unique when you think of the psychosomatic body. It represents support. And honestly, a lot of us need to learn self-support and self-reliance. And the back becomes a physical example of that. My back went for a toss. My feelings went for a toss because I also became numb and I began to disassociate. So it was like these very, very beautiful moments are happening, and I'm grateful and I'm protected and I'm lucky, but I can't feel that gratitude. And when I'm sitting by myself, the kind of things that were coming up, the kind of thoughts that were coming up, they were actually forcing me to go into a guilt and shame spiral that why am I not happier? Why am I not stronger? Why am I not able, even if I take it down a notch and talk about, like, why am I unable to go to the gym? Why am I unable to work? Why am I unable to push myself? Small things became hard. And I had done therapy. You know what I mean? But when you're actually at that point, you begin your wellness journey, because you're like, now I have to support myself.
I have to take care of myself.
I have to take care of
out,
myself.
right?
And
Yeah.
I'm happy.
That's a conscious moment of realization, right? That you have to start turning this car
Right.
around, because what are you going to
But
do?
my question, and I want to pose this question to you, Neha, and Arjun, I also want to hear your answer about this, because now we've brought in three very different, beautiful perspectives, right, of burnout. And we talked, anyone who's watching this will also have their own burnout story, right? Most of us, it's a very common terminology and a very common feeling these days. I want to know, is burnout, and I'm going to read this because, is this a phase? Is this a generational shift? Or is this something structural? Do human beings all evolve and have a burnout and then a wellness phase? Is this something that is unique to our generation between COVID and the current geopolitical situation? Or, is this just a phase in, like, our really
that's a very-
privileged urban lives?
It's a very
And
meta question.
That's a really good question.
Yeah.
But please think about
think
it.
I think it's evolutionary, because I mean, when you look at a dog, right? A dog knows how to take care of itself. When its stomach is upset, it'll go and a dog will graze like a cow, and it knows which plants to eat, which get its digestive system. So we're, I think, biologically built to know how to take care of our bodies. And I think human beings, we have so much ancient knowledge. It's always been part of us to take care of ourselves. And I think in the when capitalism became the way to live, the in we lost in the race to be externally performative. We lost that ability to take care of ourselves and look at our body signals and look at our emotional signals. And I think the industry has burgeoned because there was a need for it, right? People had just forgotten to be, and that's why we're able to talk about it.
Yeah. But if you think, okay, another way to think about answering your question is, did our parents face burnout? Like generationally, I think one of the things you were saying is, we've created this toxic lifestyle for ourselves in our generation, I feel, because the societal pressure of work hard, play hard, more women obviously working now, not just managing families and homes. We're trying to juggle so many things, and we're fed so many more stories about you can be ambitious and do this. You can have both, right? Like we want to have our cake and we want to eat it,
Yeah.
basically. But are we're creating this storm of like burnout culture more than our parents did, right? They didn't talk about this stuff. Many of them didn't go through therapy. Maybe it's an access issue, like maybe they didn't have it, but they lived more simply. They used more natural remedies, right? Like even now, my mother-in-law, if something happened, they're like, oh, do this tulsi and put aloe vera. And like they use a lot of these Ayurvedic or like natural remedies, whereas I feel like because we have so much more information at our fingertips, and some of it is recycled ancient knowledge, but it's in the form of like, now we'll call it peptides and we'll call it this and we'll do that. And like, it's almost like we feel this thing that we have to keep up with what's next, right? It's evolving so fast that we always feel like we're behind.
You have to find your own thing. Actually, for me, I have like a theory about this. I think that it skipped our parents' generation, the boomer generation. I think I actually relate this burnout that we're feeling maybe would be more familiar to our grandparents' age because they grew up during these like very big like geopolitical wars. I mean, and also like our parents, I'm generalizing very deeply, but the parents' generation is not very vocal about feelings. They are a lot more like, okay, this is a problem, this is a solution, whether it's a tulsi, whether it's a holiday, they don't really want to talk about it, right? They've medicized their burnout. But the grandparents' generation, when I kind of think about the art that was coming out of their time, when I think about the music that was coming out of their time, when I think about the wellness practices that was coming out of their time, I feel our generation relates to it harder because we cannot ignore the geopolitical reality of our lives. And this much decision fatigue and such beautiful language to attach it to. Disassociation, shame spiral, doom scroll, burnout, wellness era, very, very cool words. Extremely explain what's happening to us. And the solution is also at our fingertips. Go take a class, go, eat a protein shake.
There's kind of something out there for everyone, and especially after moving to Mumbai from London, there's always something going on somewhere.
We literally wanted to call
crazy.
this episode, Why Are We Spending So Much Money Trying to Be Happy? Like, what is this thing where happiness has become a metric, rest has become a metric, and now with surveillance technologies, those metrics can be broken down into your sleep cycle, and they've made parameters, and
wellness has become a second job to most of us.
and then when you
And
reach
an
that,
investment,
and
right?
you're not actually feeling happy, right? I mean, I think that paradoxically, once people feel happy, wellness industry again has to at some point take a dip, because the objective of sitting with yourself, finding your practices has been achieved. It can't keep. There's no infinite potential. So if wellness industry keeps growing, they're constantly serving you new things, and sometimes they even replace their own products.
Sometimes that's called
So
2.0.
so you are just like, when does this stop?
But is there an end?
And
I
is
don't
there an
know.
end? And if you're not actually feeling happy, sometimes you have to question then that I'm spending so much money.
I think that's a really good point, because so much of what we do now, and we buy these things, you know, online or go for these treatments, we do these intense things. Maybe you go for a retreat, right? Like obviously now retreats are huge. I've said, my mum came recently to visit me from London. I said, let's go for a retreat. And she was like, why do we need to like get away? Like, I just want to be with the kids. And in my head, I'm like, yeah, but that's a nice thing to do. But I think it comes back to that point of like, what is actually making a meaningful difference for you? Yes, you can log in to you pay membership for these things. And sometimes we get that dopamine hit from just saying, I'm part of that club. Oh yeah, I'm part of the 5 a.m. club.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, my alarm goes off, but I turn it off and go back to sleep.
I did the 5 a.m. club last year, the peak of my burnout.
This is like ridiculous. Because I'm midnight club also, like I stay up too late. But I think there's a part of like the aesthetic layer, right, of things we all do and say we're part of, to be like, oh yeah, I take this protein, or I do this, to feel like we're part of this well-being era, this well-being club. But when you really dial it back to what is actually making a meaningful difference, to making me feel I am well and healthy and active and I can enjoy the things in my life I want to do, it comes down to probably very simple, basic things.
This leads me to actually, I feel like the nugget that I really want to explore in today's episode about burnout and wellness is that what are the financial ramifications of being of a burnout and of wellness? Because it's really expensive. You know, I'm not saying it's not worth it, but I do want to understand what is worth it. I would love to hear from you because you're a professional in this space. And I think that you're actually at an end that I feel is sustainable. It's not faddy. So what is worth it and what are the financial ramifications of this? Because we're all spending a lot of money to feel good and no one is actually
feeling that much better.
Feeling that good, yeah. No one's come out and been like,
that's what I mean. We're still
great.
Going because we're still looking for it. We've not reached that.
Yeah, and I will go for a sound bath and feel really good, but it lasts about a week, 2 weeks till the next, till the next reminder from the universe. Or, like flu season isn't upon us yet. So.
Oh God.
Yeah, but I think
what are the financial ramifications? Where does...
I'm glad you finally said it because people don't talk about it enough. That
no one is talking about it, but I'm looking at my bill every month. And I'm looking, and now it's come down to, it's really important.
Itni to khushi mili nahi humko.
We are spending financially, the men are spending to perform better. The women are spending to heal and to recover. The children are being spent upon because you don't want them only to reach.
Women are also spending to look better.
Yeah.
I think vanity is a big part
Arjun,
of women's
the second you feel
industry.
Better, you look better.
No, I think they're chasing the look before the feeling.
No,
I think I agree with you.
Come on,
I don't agree.
No, you can't discount. Look, wellness is...
It's so intrinsically tied.
Wellness is
if you are unable to...
Okay.
Can I finish my
Sorry, one
no,
second.
I insist.
Sorry.
I insist. If I look
also.
In the mirror and I
That's
maybe...
you. I'm not talking about you.
I'm talking about women. And Neha, please chime in.
She just agreed with me.
I'm going to set this.
Okay.
I may be at my ideal weight. I may be head to toe in the latest whatever I want to wear. My hair could be done. But if I am not feeling well from inside, can I look at myself in the mirror? No, I can't.
But I think you're absolutely right.
An emotional metric to it, which is your experience and engagement with the wellness industry. But 50% of the wellness industry is beauty and vanity. 6 trillion. No, beauty has been sold to women so much more because women have been told to only value their beauty. So wellness for women starts with beauty. It started from there, and then you realize that beauty wasn't making me happy. Then you did the inner work.
I think what's interesting to your question about how much we spend on feeling better. There's a never-ending pit, and I think you were saying something earlier, will this ever end? I don't think it will always evolve and give you a different version of that thing, right? But I think some of it is the vanity. Like, okay, you'll go for the facial, you'll do that. There was that, what's that fish facial thing? The salmon sperm facial. Oh, now you should do this. Now you should inject your own platelets. And like, and a lot of that is the external thing that we all end up chasing. Like, we're humans at the end of the day. And now with social media, more of us is visible to more people, right? So we do want to look good. But I think, like you said, there comes a point where you finally realize that it's not, you could spend thousands on a facial, but if you do the inner work and you do the regulation and you come back to this rhythm, this natural rhythm, and you keep that, that's what's going to give you that glow or that look and that feel of contentedness, right? That you can't get from any injectables or any drips or anything else.
But
right?
it costs, it's expensive.
It's expensive.
Right? Yeah, so let's talk about it, right? How does it help me when I'm trying to heal myself and it's costing me so much and I'm just spending more and more? How does it help me?
So I think if you're learning something that you can practice consistently in your day-to-day life, it's worth the investment. Like, think of, like, for many of us, like, we've invested money or we've worked in areas where we think of return on investment, right? So if you're going to spend, I don't know, thousands on a facial treatment or a hair replacement treatment, but you're going to live in that toxic lifestyle every day and still drink loads of alcohol or smoke or do whatever else you do that's detrimental to your body, not sleep, binge watch, whatever, you're going to keep spending that money and you're going to keep backtracking all the time. If you're going to invest the money in something that I think takes you to that next level, right, but gives you the education and the empowerment to continue that, it's consistency over intensity is such a big part of coming back to this rhythm, feeling well again, then it's worth that investment, right? So for example, let's talk about sound healing or breathwork classes. Go to them, invest. They obviously cost money. Like, you're going to go and do these things. Or like yoga, you spend lots of money on a yoga instructor or a private instructor, go to Reformer Pilates, but you sit for 7-8 hours at a desk every day. You don't get up, do your movement break. You sleep at 1 a.m, you wake up at 5 a.m. You're just you're creating that knot in your system again to pay someone to undo that knot, and then you're going to create that knot. Like, that's the problem with what we do.
You're in a vicious cycle.
You're in this vicious cycle. Then. So we go for the retreat, we go for the girls' trip, we do this Vipassana for 10 days, but we come back to Vipassana's free. But we do these things. People are now paying for silent retreats and digital detoxes and stuff. But then we come back and we're doom scrolling and we're addicted to our phones So I think if you're investing in something that is helping you to create more of that lifestyle that you don't need to escape from and keep spending money to recover from, then I think it's worth it.
I love that answer. And I think it's so true. Neha, you do these breathwork classes, right? Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so at the moment in Mumbai, I do a practice called IMD-certified, which stands for immersive, multi-dimensional breathwork. Okay, so I know in India, when people think of breathwork, they think of pranayama and they think of these kind of meditation practices. What we do that's different is we practice a technique called conscious connected breathwork, which is a very powerful technique, an ancient breathing technique that is designed to help you actually unblock and release stress from your body. So for many of us, stress is stored in our fascia, in our tissues, in our muscles. We talked about lower back pain and hips and our jaw. Many of us grind our teeth and we wake up with tight jaws. That's where that suppressed emotion, things that we never dealt with, things that we think we've tucked under the carpet or tucked away in that drawer, we didn't think about them consciously, but they are still there and they hold you back and they weigh you down. So actually there's this new thing now, this new phenomenon in nervous system science called high performing anxiety. Okay, most of us are living in this high performing anxiety where, like I said before, we perform well, we're successful on the outside, we manage to work hard, play hard, we do all the things, and we thrive off that pressure sometimes. We get actually a bit of a dopamine kick out of doing 100 things a day and attending 3 events in one night. I'm going to go there, I'm going to pop in for you for drinks, we try and do all these things and we get a bit of a kick out of it, right? But actually, there comes a point, you can do that for so long, but it's not sustainable. This is when you reach that burnout, exhaustion, mental depletion, whatever name you want to give it, you can't. Yes, you crash. You crash and you can't enjoy those things to that same extent as you did before. And then you get to this level where you're like, oh my God. And the body, we do these mental things for ourselves. We try and go on a digital detox, or we do journaling, talk therapy, whatever it is, those can go to certain layers, but we each have different layers of where stress is held. And I think this is where now breathwork is becoming more popular. People are trying all sorts of different modalities. And I have to say, there's not one fix, right? We look for this magic pill or this one quick fix. I always have believed in like this idea of a well-being toolkit. Like, you have to have different things in your toolkit for different phases and stages of your life. Sometimes if you're working on a deadline or a project or something, you do need the coffee or the glass of wine at the end of a long night, or whatever it might be. Maybe you're watching to zone. You do need those things, but you also need in your toolkit real regulation practices, things that actually bring you back to feeling regulated on a cellular level in your body. And I think for most of us, it's expanding that toolkit in a way that feels balanced, doesn't cost us the earth. We're not just working to basically spend our way recovering from that work, because that's and then doing it all over again. But it's coming back to that center, I think, is so important.
I completely agree with you, but just to take this conversation a bit deeper, I want to talk about where like, I'm trying to get the right words to phrase this. Am I only spending on my wellness journey to feel better, right? But where does the feeling better end? Where does it end? So now I have my toolkit. And it's a beautiful toolkit. It's packed with financially sustainable practices. It's packed with consistency. And this is a very meta question, but does this life mean that I'm constantly trying to feel better? When will I actually feel better and then enjoy my life? Or does that only happen on...
Might reach for the tissues on this one, no?
Please. The tissues are also called feels. Today, just in the morning, to get into the right frame for this question, I saw this meme where it's the beginning of my wellness journey and the person is like doing a sound bath and has these tarot cards out. And then the person at the end of the wellness journey is actually having a coffee and a cig, or a glass of wine and a cig. So can you please tell me, because I really want to know. No pressure.
I'm on my knees.
But tell me
when does the roller coaster?
I'll spend money on it. I'll spend money. I'll do the new work. I'll do the consistency. But to what end? Do I always have to leave my body to feel better? What is it? Like, I'm sorry to put you on the spot. It's a lot of feelings that are coming
a little unleashed.
This is literally the question though that fuels the whole industry, right? Because they're making you move the benchmarks all the time. That as soon as you get to one thing, there'll be another level and there'll be another level. Like, it's like gaming. Like, you want to go to the next thing. It becomes addictive, right? We become addicted to like bettering ourselves and evolving. And I think like, I don't know, I don't personally have an answer to that question, but because I think we all struggle essentially with that thing. When is enough enough?
Do you
right?
think
When have I done enough?
Do you think you yourself are on that roller coaster, or have you taken a pause and you're like, I'm committed to the state of being I'm in right now, and I'm happy to use that word, and I'm just going to self-sustain and see where that takes me now, and not keep adding more?
It's interesting because I think I was in a good place and then I've signed up for High Rocks. So I feel like I got sucked into that. I know. So
my back hurt just when you said where you said High Rocks and my back. But I have a theory about why you've done this, because I think that burnout is a very lonely experience. And so when you switch to wellness and then you start finding community.
Yes.
And community really helps you. For me, one of the things that has helped me is that community has helped me feel a little less alone in my burnout.
My concern with gamification, like it is with many things that happen around us these days, is that I think we're already on the path where it will push us too far by and large. And like your lived experience, my lived experience is slightly more tempered, I think, because we have certain privileges of community, and we, like you mentioned, our toolkit is diverse. So sometimes one balances the other, right? If we know how to party hard, we also know how to regulate ourselves. We also have a community around us, whether it's friends or family, that's given us generational knowledge or meeting people like you. So we're able to balance. But I think by and large, a lot of people are way lonelier than we are. and they fall prey to this hamster wheel much more easily.
You know, one of the things that you've really clicked in my brains today while talking about breath work, while talking about finding your toolkit, is that all of wellness is about coming back to yourself. Anything that brings you back to yourself in a gentle way, in a non-extreme way, in a healing way, is what's actually going to be sustainable and take you further. But I think community and feeling less lonely is a very big part of it.
Of course it is.
I never thought of that before. That's a really big unlock for me.
There's the point where it becomes like too much. Like we've kind of gone around this topic, but like there's a sweet spot where
There's a sweet spot.
use certain products, and when technology develops and information and research develops, we should.
Identify the sweet spot. That. How do you identify
Yeah,
the sweet
that is
spot?
hard. That is very hard. But I think asking the right questions or asking better questions is going to give you more meaningful answers, right? So when we talk about how do you know if that product, like there's a serum, one is like $100, one's $5. How do you know what? So I think partly one of the things you said was therapy's taught you certain things and skills, right? So if a practice or you're investing in something that's teaching you a better way of looking at things, learning things, discerning ingredients, the way you move or the way you sit at work, if it's teaching you something that you can do daily, it's definitely going to help you long term, right? It's not just a quick fix.
I had a question about breath work when you were talking about it earlier, and tying in your advice about finding something that's sustainable for you, that teaches you something you can exercise with yourself later. How does breath work tie into that?
So definitely things like conscious connected breath, which is what we do in the class, has to be like supervised because you need to make sure that you're safe, that you're keeping in that rhythm, that kind of thing. So that's not something you'd practice daily, but it's almost like a nervous system reset. Like maybe you do that once a month, like how you take
But
your
what
car
could be
for
the
energy.
miniature version of that?
Daily versions are things like box breathing every day, right? Practice like box breathing. So box breathing is a really simple rhythm and rate of breath that basically is you inhale for a count of 4, you hold for a count of 4, exhale for a count of 4, and hold for a count of 4. So almost making like a square or a box. Now there's been so much research on this, but it became very famous years ago when the Navy SEALs said that they came out and used this technique to basically regulate their system before going into like a mission, or soldiers use it before going into combat and things. Because the way box breathing works is it basically brings your nervous system into a state of balance, whichever state you're in. So at the beginning, we talked about going into shutdown mode when you're really like disconnected and aloof. We've talked about fight and flight, survival mode, where you're like constantly on edge and rushing. And whichever state you're in, box breathing, because it has an equal amount of inhale, hold, exhale, hold, brings your nervous system back into your center.
A tip that I use is that I've set an alarm for 9 p.m. And anyone who knows me will come up to me and be like, your phone's buzzing and it's an alarm. That alarm is a reminder to myself to just come back to myself. So no matter what I'm doing, whether I'm in bed, and it's a wellness practice that alarm's been set on my phone for now, I mean, I don't even know how long. But that has really helped me. It's such a simple, free, easy wellness
that's
practice.
a great hack. I'm going to do both these things.
My phone rings at 9 p.m. and whether I'm about to step out, wherever I am, whatever I'm doing, Sandhini, you're okay, you're here, you're present, feel the ground. Because that simplicity, that habit stacking, when you just make life a little bit simple for yourself, that in and of itself is a very big luxury.
I really like the term you just used, actually, habit stacking.
Habit stacking.
It's a really famous term.
From Atomic Habits.
It's from Atomic Habits.
Very good.
Really?
Yeah, it's Pratyush's favorite term.
Yeah.
He tells me.
Habit stack.
What I really love about wellness practices is that it takes away this feeling of constantly needing to achieve another milestone. And people who approach wellness from, I need to achieve this, I need to achieve this, that's literally the antithesis of this process, because this process is only going to teach you to accept, to let go, to come back to yourself, to slow down. And when you take away achievement as a metric, or success as a metric, or, my own question, like, when is it enough? When you take that question away and you literally bring it back to, coming back to, how am I feeling? Am I feeling better? that's when you actually achieve something, ironically.
Even the wellness industry is, I mean, we're all lucky to have found practitioners that feel authentic and helpful and give us the support. But as an industry, it's playing on our, vulnerability, and it's preying on our tendency to fall into gamification structures. It's preying on our desire
FOMO,
to
like everyone
perform.
have FOMO, yeah.
So it
But
makes
it's on
things trend.
us, right?
Yeah.
This is the time to take your power
Of
back.
course, exactly. And that's
This
what
is
we'd
the
love
first-
for people to understand, that everything has to be taken with, like you said, asking the right questions.
Neha, I mean, of course, thank you like 100 times for coming on this and explaining so beautifully what wellness is about, what burnout is about, what are we feeling. And I mean, I know that there have been a couple of like thoughts that we haven't maybe defined in black and white, but I think that's a little bit of life. You've also written these amazing books for children. If you want to show them, or maybe we can just tag them for people and they can pick them up.
Yeah, I'm glad I actually felt like I got some answers from you, because my problem with the engaging with wellness practices has always been sustainability. Something feels great and it gives results, and it's never either it's too expensive or too much of a time cost or too much of an energy cost, or it doesn't feel sustainable for various reasons. And I actually feel like I'm going to research things like box breathing and things like that to add to my toolkit.
But I think also like what's really nice is that you can play devil's advocate with each other and question and challenge, right? So like, why are you doing that though? Why are you going for that
Who's the
treatment
devil,
or that
who's the
vision?
advocate?
Yeah, but like
Please subscribe to our channel.